Hello everyone, I'm Zishan Shah and welcome to Zinteractive. Now as you know how Nurbs models are being made, so in this lesson 8, let's see how to refine these Nurbs models.
I got a job!
Now as you know how to create Nurbs models, we'll see how to refine the Nurbs models. What we can do is that if you have seen my last videos, you have seen how I can convert a curve into a planar or in a NURB. But right now we will see how we can convert a NURB into a curve. Okay, so to do that, we usually use isoparms, and we will see what are the isoparm and how we can convert the isoparm of NURB into a curve. So I have two different NURB objects here. If you will see, one is on the right side, other is on the left side, and you can see here this these are the deformed NURB cylinder 1 and 2. So if I will go to NURB 1, this one cylinder 1, and you will notice that I have here the spans. I have here the vertical and the horizontal spans here. Now these are basically like curves. Suppose I want to add these, or I want to convert these curves into like a standalone curve. So how we do that usually? If you right click, you will see all these properties here, control vertex and hull and others. The one that we are interested right now is the isoparm. Now what is the isoparm? All these lines, the spans, the singular lines here are the isoparms. So if I click any one of these, like either they are going in this direction or coming from this direction, like if it is going in the vertically or it's coming horizontally, suppose if I click here, you can notice that it will allow me to move this, but it's not actually moving it right now. What it is doing is it's just showing me the view of it. It's just showing me how it will look like when I will move it. Okay, so suppose if I will move it here, and if I click somewhere else, it will be gone. Okay, so similarly I can do on the vertical ones. I can click here and I can move it wherever I want. Okay, so it's just showing me the view of it. Okay, so if I will move anywhere else, if I click anywhere other than that, it will be gone. It's just showing me the view. But what if we want to convert this isoparm into a NURB, or like into a curve basically? So what we can do is that simply we will just select one of these. Okay, move wherever we want. Like suppose I want to move it here, or I want to move it here. Okay, after moving it, I simply have to go to the curves. Okay, and I can click on duplicate surface curves. So when I do that, it will give me a curve, just like if you will see in the outliner, it's an extra curve over here. So I can take my moving tool and I can move it wherever I want, and I can create, I can deform this curve, I can make something out of this curve, I can do whatever I want. Okay, but still my history is on. So this curve is a child of the parent object. This is the parent object. Okay, so as the history is on, if I will move the parent object, the child will move with it. So you can see that it's moving around. Okay, so you can delete the history, but you have to make sure once you're done, you are ready, then you can delete the history. Otherwise you won't be able to do the changes. So this is one way to make the like a curve from the isoparm. Other than that, what you can do is that you can insert instead of duplicating it. Like suppose if I will go back here, I can right click, go to the isoparm, I can click here. Suppose I want more detail somewhere here, so I can click it here. Then go to surfaces. Inside the surfaces, I will see insert isoparms. If I click over here, it will convert that into a new isoparm. So if you want more details, or you want more high quality, you can keep on adding those. Kind of works like edge loop. Okay, so I will undo that. I don't want it. Now let's see what we can do with this. I will take this curve from here, like through the isoparm, and I will move it in the end of my this NURB object. Once I'm here, it will be sitting on the end of this curve. Okay, like this NURB object. Then I can go simply to the curves, and inside the curves I will just duplicate it. And it's there, and I don't want to move it. I just want it to be right sitting at that stage. I don't want to move it at all. Now what I will do is that I will go to my second NURB object. I will do the same thing here. I will right click. I will go to Isoparm, and then I will select any one of these, suppose this one, and move it in the at this end, and go to curves and duplicate surface curves. Now I have two of them, and both are child of these two. Like this one is the child of this NURB object, and this one is the child of this NURB object. Now I have to select both of them. Okay, like I will select this one, then I will select this. So this is the last one to be selected, as it is green. Now what I can do is that simply I can go to my surfaces and I can apply Loft on it. As soon as I will apply Loft, you will see that there is a Loft connection between here. Now you can see the Loft is kind of like a blackish color over here. The reason is that we need to reverse it. That's why it looks kind of black. So simply what you can do, you can go to the Loft option here. We will turn off the auto reverse, and then we will reverse the curve one, I guess, because I think the curve one is reversed. So if I will click on reverse curve one, so now it's normal. Okay. Now the good thing about is that like there is a history. So if I will move this one, you will notice that it is still attached to it. Okay. If I will move this one, you can see it is attached. So it will stay attached. Okay. If you want to add more isoparm here, you can do that, so that you can kind of remodify it. Or like if you can go to Isoparm, I can click here, then I can go to the surfaces, insert Isoparm, then I can go to the control vertices, and if I want, I can reshape this one by resizing or whatever I want to do. So a different kind of like modify you can use over here. And the good thing, as I told you, is the history. Okay. One more thing I can do with the Isoparm is that you will notice that these two ends here are opened. Okay, I can see through it because it's open. Let me go to lighting and use two-sided lighting, so you can see clearly what's going on. Okay, so what I can do here is I can simply go in this one, right click, Isoparm, choose any one of these, suppose this one. Okay, move it to this end, and then simply I will go to surfaces, curves, duplicate surface curves. Okay, and then I will have this one here. Now what I can do here is that I can go to the surfaces and apply planar to this newly created curve. So if I will apply planar, you will see that it's being closed. I can do the same thing here as well. I can right click here, Isoparm, I can take any one of these, bring it to this end. Okay, then curves, duplicate surface curve, and then it's already selected. I can go to surfaces, planar, and you will notice that it is being closed. Still, everything is in the history. So if I will move the parent objects, you can notice that everything is moving all together. Okay, so this is how it will work. But this one, as it is child, so parents will not move with the child. So in order to move it, or anywhere you want, you have to first select your parent, and then you have to move the parent. Okay, child will move independently. Okay, so this is how it will work, and I hope you understood about Isoparm now. Okay, so this is one of the ways, like good ways to create curves out of NURBS. Okay, so let me select all of this, and what I will do is that I will delete here this one, and I will create a new planar. Let me create it like a new planar NURB here. Okay, I have this planar NURB. I will move it a little bit upward. I can go in the control vertices. Let me reshape it a little bit, so there is a kind of a shape around it. Yeah, there's something like this, not too much. Okay, So basically, as I told you before, NURBS are not three-dimensional objects. They are like paper. They don't have actual XYZ. They have U and V. Okay, just like I explained it to you last class. These paper are wrapped around, and after wrapping the paper, they take a form of 3D objects. Just like cylinder, it wraps around it, then you have one paper on the top, one paper on the bottom, so it creates, it becomes a 3D object. So this is how NURBS actually works. So this is like in a basic explanation what are NURBS and why NURBS and polygons are different. Now let's see how we can draw over the NURB patch or NURB object. Okay, so let me do one more thing here. Let me give a little bit height to these vertices here. Actually, what I will do is that I will just go to this NURB like this make NURB plane. So in the make NURB plane, I will increase this. Let me select the whole thing so that I can have more details here. Now I have more details, so I can right click and can reshape them. So this is why I'm reshaping. The reason is that if I will draw over this one, so you can clearly understand what do I mean by drawing over planar surface. Okay, so object mode, select all. Okay, now good. Okay, now you will see that it's not like a flat plane surface. What I did is that I moved the control vertices so it can have a little bit height here. Now, if I want to draw over it, like if I want to draw a curve over it, following the contours of this planar, how we can do that? We can simply do that by making this NURB object a live object. It can be done on the polygonal object also, but we are doing it on the NURBS object here. So it can be done on both. So I will select this one and I will go on the top. Okay, if you cannot see these, you can just click on this option on your shelves here and you will get them here. Okay, now the one that I will use here is the last one. What it will do is that it will make my object live. Now once this is live, you can see that NURBS plane 1 is live. Whatever I will draw, it will be drawn, I will be able to draw over it. Okay, so the reason is that because now this has become my canvas. It is now the live object. The grid is not anymore my live object. This is the one which is my live object. Okay, so you can see here NURBS plane 1 is the live object. Now I can take any one of these. Okay, like suppose I can go to create curve tools here. I can take any one of these. I'll take at this point EP curve. Okay, and if I will start drawing, you will notice that I'm able to draw on my NURB surface here. Now I can close it or I can open it, whatever I want to do. If I will go here in my curves, I can open or I can close this one. Let me select this whole thing. I can go to curves, close, and you can see that if I orbit around, you can see it is clearly made over the top of the contours. It is following the contours. Okay, but if I will try now to move it, you will notice that it is on my surface and it have only these two axes. It does not have any Z axis. I cannot move it up. I can move it either left, okay, or I can move it back and forth or left and right. So you can see as soon it moves out of this area, it is going upward. Okay, because as you can see that I have a contour going up here and here it is complete plane, so it is going in this way. Okay, so this is how I can move it, and as soon the axis reaches to this part, it stops moving because this is the boundary of it. So it will stay right over my plane and I cannot move it upwards. It will stick to my NURB curves. Okay, so if I want to duplicate this one, I will be able to move it in the Z direction, because at this point I'm not able to move it in the Z direction. I am only able to move it either back and forth or left and right. Okay, so simple, what I need to do is that I have to keep it selected, then I have to go to curves, and then I will select the duplicate surface curves. Now once I will select it, you will notice that I have a new curve, okay, and I have an like a axis to move it upwards. Okay, so this is how can I simply move it. Now I can make it bigger or smaller or whatever I want, and wherever I want it, because now it is like a new curve which is not attached to this. However, my history is still on. So if I will select my Nurbs plane, okay, and move this as a child will move with it. So that means the history will play a role over here as well. So that's how I can do that. If I will right click over here, go to control vertices, and suppose if I will try to change any one of these vertices, okay, so I will be able to change those, okay, but I have to first like turn off my live mode, okay, then I will be able to select these. And now if I will change this, so you can see that it's changing as well, okay. So this is how it will work. Now what you can do is that you can go back to object mode, okay. Let me undo this so I can get my back, can go back to my original thing, okay. Now I can take this one, okay, and take this, and what I can do is that I can simply go to the curves option here, surfaces option here, and I can choose the loft. Soon I will choose loft. You can see that I have a loft created between these. Now as the history is there, they will move together, okay. So even if I will make it bigger or smaller, you can notice that it will just follow that. And if I will go to the controlled vertices and try to move them or up and down, okay, or left and right, so you can see that everything moves accordingly. Okay, so this is how you can use a like a live surface, okay. And once you are done, you can close the live surface from here, and then you can modify, you can create them you can create whatever you want. It's pretty much very used in architectural modeling. You can create a lot of great sort of models with it, okay. So at this stage I cannot apply the planar over here because you can see it's not flat, because if it is not flat you cannot apply planar. So this is how pretty much it works, and you'll get your your designs out of this in this way. Now we have another way to draw curves over the Nurbs, okay. So one way you have seen that we can make an object live and we can draw it, but it can only move in the U and V direction. It will not move in X, Y, and Z. So you have to duplicate in order to move it above or opposite if you want to do it. So now let's see what is the another way. Another way to do that, you will see here we have this oven and we have the chimney on the top of it. So if we want to draw something over here, we can make it live and draw it. However, we can do one more, we can work on another method, and that method is basically known as projection method. But the projection method works on a flat viewport. Perspective is not a flat viewport because we don't have a clear vantage point over here. So what we need to do is that we have to go to any of these orthographic viewports. Suppose if I want to make a circular hole over here, or circular shape curve and on the front view of this pipe. So what I can do is that I can go in panel, orthographic, and front. So now I know I'm on the flat angle. There is no vantage point or unclear vantage point, or there is no perspective over here. So I will be clearly able to project my curve on this NURB object. Okay, so what I need to do is that simply I have to find a way, like a place, or like, you know, the area on which I have to draw. Like I have to draw somewhere over here on this part of the NURB. So I can select my desired shape. Suppose I want to draw a circle. I will take the circle over here, and wherever I want to draw, I can draw there. Okay, I can move around, and I have to make sure it should be not too big. So I will press R to scale it down and make sure it is not too small. So I think now it is fine. I will try to move it a little bit here. Let's see for a while how it looks like. So you can see that this is how it looks. So this is how it will project. So now let's go back to our orthographic front. And what we need to do, we have to select first our surface, then press Shift key to select your second object, which is your curve. So now you can see the curve is green. That means it is selected last. So now how to project it? To project it, simply I have to go to surfaces, and I have to choose project curve on surface. As soon as I will click, you will notice nothing happened because we are in the orthographic mode viewport, and everything is happening behind. So I have to go to panels, perspective, and perspective view here, and you will notice that it has projected this circle right on the pipe on either sides. Okay, and just like the live drawing, it is on U and V, it's not on X, Y, and Z. So I can only move it up or down or left or right. So just like this, I can move it around. Okay, but I don't want to move it. I will just undo that. Okay, one more way to do is that to draw like a open curve, not like a closed, like I don't want to draw a closed curve just like what I did here. I will just draw an open curve, and what I will do is that I will make a section here. Okay, so sometimes you see chimneys where they have digital like display here. So I want to make a digital display here. So this is a one part. So I have to create a separate part, a separate section here, so where I can put the digital like display for the chimney here. Okay, so what I need to do is that I have to go to this kind of side view. So I cannot use the perspective, otherwise I will be not on a flat viewport. So I have to go to panels, orthographic, and side. Now I'm clearly on the side. So I want to create like a curve over here. Let's create a straight line here. Okay, so I can go to create curves tools, and I'll choose the Bezier curve tool here. Okay, so I will make a straight line just like here, one point here, other point I can create here. Okay, and then I can press enter here. Now I have this. Now one more thing I need to do is that I have to move it over here. So if I will go to my perspective viewport, so you will notice that it is not at the end, it is in the center. So simply I have to, first of all, I have to go to modifier, center pivot, so I can get the pivot over here, and I can move it a little bit outside here. Make sure you're not moving it up or back and forth or up or down. You're just moving it in one direction here, so it moves clearly at this part. Okay, anywhere here. Now I can go back to my orthographic viewport side, and then you can see I'm here. Everything is fine. If you want, you can make it a little bit more longer. If you don't want, you can keep it shorter. Now what I can do is that I can select my surface, then I can select my curve, and then I can go to the surfaces, project curve on surface. Now just to see how my result is, you can go to the planes, orthographic, and perspective, then perspective, and you can see here it made a separate section. Okay, and this section can be moved up or down, and it can take the shape of wherever you are moving it, but I don't want to do that. I will undo that. So this is a really good way to draw things. Okay, so you can just draw with a projection. You can draw any shape you want, and then you can project, and then later on you can apply some changes over it. So once you have your objects projected, like your curves projected on your NURB surfaces, like one here, we can use these very creatively. One way of using it is to trim the NURB surface. Now, trimming the NURB surface is similar to booleaning. If you remember, we learned about the boolean in the polygon modeling, so we can make holes and we can do union subtractions and like many other things. So here we can do the same thing. We can use this projected curves as an object which can make a hole over here. Okay, so that is basically known as trimming inside the Maya using the NURBS. Okay, so simply what I want to do is that I want to make a hole over here. Okay, but I don't want any hole here. And then I want this surface, this area, to be a separate surface. The reason is that so that I can use one for like a normal area, okay, and this one will be a separate like surface, and I will use this separate surface as a digital display. Okay, so that means I need two different kind of objects on my my screen. Like I want a duplicate version of this one. So what I will simply do is that let me first go and bring this pivot point in the center, so it will become easier for me to move around. I will go to modify center pivot. So now it will become easier for me to move around. So I will press shift key and move it so that a clone like a duplicate will be created, or I can press Ctrl D, or I can go to edit and duplicate. So I can do so many other things. Okay, but let me just move this one here. Now I have two. Now in this one, what I want is that, first of all, let's make a hole over here. Okay, and then we will decide what we need to do the next. So how to do this? You have to select your surface, okay, that have all the curves projected. Then you have to go to surfaces option here, and then you have to click on trim tool. As soon you will click it, it will become like a dot, it will become like a wireframe. But this wireframe is quite different. It have dotted lines instead of normal lines like these. So let me make it more easy to see. I will turn on the anti-aliasing here so that it will become more clear. Now, simple what I need to do is that the objects that I want to keep, I will click on it just like here. Okay, and you will see that now it is not a dotted line anymore. It's like a solid line. I want to keep this, okay, part, and it is, you can see it is clearly divided into two because there was a seam here. So I have to press here. Now I'm not pressing shift key or control key or anything. I'm just clicking. That's all. You don't have to press any key on the keyboard. And then I will click here. So these were the objects I want to keep. This one I don't want to keep it because I want to remove it. Okay, so this one also I want to remove it, and once I'm done, I will simply press enter on my keyboard, and as soon I will do that, you will notice that there is a hole here, okay, and there is a cut over here. So this is what the trimming can do, and it looks very perfectly, you know, Boolean, where like very nice looking you know, curves are there. Okay, now I want this part as a separate part, and I want to bring it here back. So what I will do is simply I will select this one, okay, and then I can go to surfaces, and I will do the same thing. I can go to the trim tool, and this time I only want to keep this, and rest I want to remove. So I will just click here simply one time, done. I don't want anything else, and I will press enter on my keyboard, and you can see that now I have only this. So simple what I will do, I don't want these two from here, so I can delete, okay, and then I will select this one, and what I will simply do is that I will just go to modify center pivot to here, or I can press D on my keyboard to bring it down. Okay, so it will be on the center of this object, and I will press D again so that it will go back to the normal position. Okay, now I will press W and I can bring it simply here back. Okay, now I can apply whatever I want on this one, and so it will be a different object. Okay, so this is how you can simply do the trimming. Now, one more thing trimming allows you to do is that you can select that trimmed area, okay, and then you can use that trim area to do any kind of modification. You can apply any kind of modifier on it. For example, if I right click here, go to trim edge. Now it will allow me to select the trim edge. Now the trim edge one was here and other one is this. So if I will click here, it will allow me to select this trim edge. Now next thing what I can do is that I can press shift key and select this my curve which I created. Both are selected. Now see what I can do now. Simply I can go to surfaces and I can choose loft. And once I do loft, you can see that it will create like a bridge between these two. So I can create something like this as well with the help of the trim edges. Okay, so trimming gives you a lot of different options, and you can there are a lot of possibilities you can use with the trim, and you can make very creative items through the trim. So I hope you understood about the trimming, and maybe you can make now some like creative things like from these like Nurbs. So this is how you can creatively use the Nurbs creation, projecting on them. Then you can use the trimming, and then those trim edges you can further use it to create any secondary item out of it. Now, one important thing that here you can do with the help of the Nurbs or with the polygon is the conversion. You can convert a polygonal model into a Nurb surface or a Nurb surface into a polygonal surface. So we'll see how it can be done easily here. First of all, we have this bowl that we created in the last class. Now if I want to convert this Nurb model into a curve, like into a polygon model, so what I can simply do is that, so simply to convert, we have to select our object. Suppose this is our bowl. We can simply go to the modify option, and then we have here convert. Okay, so let me tear it off so I can see clearly. So there are a lot of things we can do conversion between. We can convert Nurbs to polygons, which we will do right now, and we can convert to Nurbs to subdivision. We can do so many things here. Okay, so there are a lot of possibilities, and if you want to change from one object method to another object like method. Okay, so our bowl is selected. You can see that it's nicely curved area here, and you can see clear more like it's a kind of curved Nurb. Okay, so let's do one thing here. I will convert this Nurb into a polygon. So I have to go to Nurbs to polygon, and I can go to settings. Now in the settings you have different kind of options here, but the main option that we are looking right now into is this. Do we want to convert this in as a triangles or as a quad? So let's see how it is done when we are doing, when we are applying triangles, and we will choose triangles. So if I'll click on tessellate here, okay, so you can see a duplicate version is created, and you will notice if I select both of them, you can see these are patches and these are now polygons. And to keep the same curve as it is, they have applied a number of like triangular patches here. Okay, these are basically faces, not patches, because this is now a polygon. It's not a Nurb. Nurb have patches, but a polygon have faces. So you can see triangular faces over here. If I will select this one and go back to the Nurbs to polygon, and instead of selecting triangles, if I'll select quads and tessellate, you will see that the new version, okay, here is, let me select all of this. is not triangles anymore. This is like a quad. Usually people wants to make quads, okay, because quads gives you very good result. Okay, mostly people use quads. So it does not have triangular like faces. It have quadratic like a square like faces. Okay. Another way now to do is that if we go back to this, I will keep the quads. Now another thing you will see on your screen is the tessellation method. So we have standard fit. Okay, in the standard fit you can change these settings and it will try to fit the newly created faces to fit with the quality of the NURBS. So that's how it will fit your the newly duplicated polygon model to match with your curves. So that's why it's called standard fit. But if I go to general, okay, so I can use my U type and V type. As you know, this is the V type around and U type. So I can choose how many like faces I want. Okay, 3 or 3. Okay, I can choose number of spans of isoparms, or I can use per surface number of isoparms. So I can choose any one of these. So if I will choose this one, the last one option here, both of them, and maybe if I will increase this one to 5 or 5. Okay, rest of the other things I will keep it as it is and press tessellate. You will see that it have created each of these like isoparms are with that 5 by 5 like faces. Okay, so you can see the result is more and more solid. So you can compare right now. Okay, so you will see that not so many details here. The details are where you have more curve, and where you have less curve you have less detail. Here the details are constant, no matter if the curve is smoother or less smoother, more detail or less detail. Okay, this is the triangles. Okay, so standard fit basically try to match with your existing like your original NURB object. As well, it will try to put more details in the heavy area, like detailed area, like suppose in the top, and wherever you have the lighter area, it will not put you know, more of the like curves there. But quite good result you can find here, but it will become heavier. Okay, another way to do this is that if you will go back here, instead of general, if you will choose control points. Okay, now control points, what it will do, you can see nothing is there. Okay, I cannot do any other thing except for these two. But if I will tessellate now, you will notice that. Okay, let me do this one because okay, now it's fine because it changed the original. That's why there was an issue. But here, if I will right click here and go to hull, you can see that taking all these hull, between these hulls were control points, and those control points are now the vertices. If I will go to the vertices here, and you will notice that these vertices are acting like the same vertices here between the hull. So what it do is that it will take the vertices or the control points, the hull of your original NURBS, and convert that into a polygonal model. Okay, so quite good if you're doing something for Unreal Engine or Unity Engine for gaming purposes, because you cannot increase the number of polygons there, and you have to keep a certain amount of like polygons. So it's good for that. Okay, another way is that if I will go to NURBS again here, okay, instead of control points, if I'll go to count, I will only get the count number here. Now, if I am working on a game and I'm using Unreal Engine and I am bounded to only use maybe 300 number of polygons, so I can type here 300. So I know if with this 300, it will try to make a best model out of it, and I can easily use in my Unreal Engine in my gaming, and my gaming will not become slower, it will not crash, everything will work fine. So if I will press tessellate over here, and if I can move it, you can see that it used the 300 numbers, and with the help of that 300 numbers, it has created a very good almost like closer shape to my original Nurbs here. Okay, so this is how I can do that. So you can see, if I will turn this on here, you can see how you can convert a one polygon, like a NURB surface, okay, into a like polygons with different method. This is my original NURB surface, and this is, you can see, with the triangular faces. Okay, this is the best fit, so that it can only choose the higher like a dense populated area with more faces, less with the less less. And here this is standardized, will give you nice result because it's general. Okay, here it will only use your control points, and this one you have to give your own calculations of the poly counts. Okay, so this is how you convert NURBS into like polygons. So next class, hopefully we will move to the texturing and materials. So we will learn how to apply a texture to an object, or how to apply shader to an object. So guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon, and keep sharing my videos to others so that everyone can gain knowledge, because all these tutorials are for free, and you can help others if they can use my videos to gain knowledge and to learn Maya. And there will be a couple of other tutorials coming up as soon we are done with this one. We have I have a lot of things in pipeline: 3D Studio Max, Marvelous Designer, Substance Painter, ZBrush, and Unreal Engine, and so many other things. And apart from that, we will be also learning, those who are interested in UX and UI design, web design, and those who are interested in like video editing, wants to learn the Premiere, and whoever is interested in visual effects, motion graphics, we will also cover like After Effects, and so many things will be coming up. So please support me so I can continue with this, and as long you will support me, it will encourage me to create more and more tutorials. So let's see each other now in the next class, and bye from now, and have a safe day.